Welcome back to the channel. I'm finally jumping on this a couple hours at least after it was released. Ren released Lost All Faith. Judging from the title, I was in his chat while the song was playing just to show support. I had it muted. I didn't even look at the video, but I was in there to support. From what people were saying, that this one is kind of back to what we know from Ren, right? He's been doing a lot of these fun hip hop songs. Obviously Masochist, I think, was sneaky with how deep it was. But it sounds like this one related more with a lot more people. So, which is what I figured from Lost All Faith. But I'm excited to see if he's going to kind of get into a little bit of both the use of the word faith being literal and figurative, right? Because that kind of resonates with me a little bit. And I know that he's kind of struggled with that as well. So I'm just curious to see what it's going to be. So anyways, I'm excited. I want to get into this. This is Ren, Lost All Faith. Let's go. Here we go.
Mate, I'm in a bit of a rush right now.
You're a sick guy.
Thanks, mate.
You're sick, boy.
I've got to get this train, mate. I'm really sorry.
You know I'm talking to you, man. Hey, can I get a quick picture, mate?
Nah, mate, I've got to go,
Come on,
mate.
man, just a little cheeky little picture for the
I've really
Instagram.
got to go, mate. I'm sorry, mate.
Come on.
Alright, fine, quickly.
I knew it was you.
Before we get into the verse, kind of a little bit of a, besides the fact that he said sick boy, but a little bit of a continuation of sick boy, right? Where he was taking pictures and stuff for the label, but this is kind of like us asking him, right? But being cheeky about it. And I know what that word means, you guys from the UK. I know what that means. All right, let's continue.
Nah, mate, I've got to go,
Come on, man,
mate.
just a little cheeky little picture for the
I've
Instagram.
really got to go, mate. I'm sorry, mate. Alright, fine, quickly.
I knew it was you. I'm a charming fella, I like drinking cans of Stella. See, I'm living for the weekend, bag kebabs and salmonella. Cinderella story raps to riches, minute full propeller. I'm Nigella Lawson, stacking mozzarella. Only joking, I'm an introvert, alone inside my...
Stacking mozzarella, right? Stacking the cheese. Another way to say, like, he's making that bread, he's making money, he's getting rich. But at what cost? I'm sure he's going to talk about what it costs. I know Ren, we know Ren, he likes to do that. All right, let's continue. Is it me or is the sound low on this?
I'm Nigella Lawson, stacking mozzarella. Only joking, I'm an introvert, alone inside my room because my insides hurt. I contemplate existence with consistency in my polo shirt, then reassert my confidence with compliments I don't deserve. I calm my nerves by plotting for the day that I might leave this earth.
Okay, that whole thing was truth, factual, and I resonate. So he's an introvert, me too, alone inside my room because his inside hurt. That one, obviously I don't have this physical stuff going on, but I understand Ren. I'm sure that the illness probably exacerbated him being an introvert. When you're in pain, you don't want for people to see you in pain, but two, you don't have the energy, right? You're trying to fight back this pain that you're feeling, and you're trying to also kind of deal with it and function. That takes a lot of energy. That takes a lot of mental energy, mental capacity to do that. I think it's I understand it for sure. I get it. I'm sure that was kind of a catch-22 that he had to navigate, and I don't envy.
Lawson, stacking mozzarella. Only joking, I'm an introvert, alone inside my room because my insides hurt. I contemplate existence with consistency in my polo shirt, then reassert my confidence with compliments I don't deserve. I calm my nerves by plotting for the day that I might leave this earth.
That was the other thing. You're trying to keep your confidence and keep yourself going by like almost forcing positive energy onto yourself, right? He said compliments, but deep down you think you don't deserve it. This kind of goes along with Masochist. He almost feels like this stuff is happening to him for a reason, so he must deserve it. But yet to get through it, you kind of have to lie to yourself like, oh no, I'm a good person. I know I am. For the day that I might leave this earth. Again, very dark thoughts. One could say that he's just saying eventually, but also with his illness especially, I'm sure that he pretty much thought, and he said it, he's pretty much thought that any day could have been his last day. And that's a very, very hard thing to like come to terms with, knowing that, not knowing, but that feeling that you might not be here for very much longer. And I'm sure he had the thoughts of, if I'm going to die soon anyways from my illness, why don't I just do it now so I don't have to go through all this pain and this fight? Obviously, he didn't do that because he's still here, but I think that line has kind of deeper meaning than we might think. Okay, I'm going to try not to stop it.
My confidence with compliments I don't deserve. I calm my nerves by plotting for the day that I might leave this earth. I lift up my eyes to the hills, Pain is my shepherd, my sword and my shield. I find my refuge in patience and pills. A patient that's patiently waiting for help.
Patience and pills, right? Like he finds his solace in patience and pills. Patience, like he's being patient, hoping that this thing will pass. Pills, obviously, to medicate him for the medical stuff he's going through. But I'm also sure, well, I'm not sure, but I'm sure that also is like kind of overdoing it just so he doesn't feel it. But also Patience was one of his songs that he had. And obviously he's had a couple songs that have to do with pills, right? So paying homage to his old songs, right? He's good at kind of connecting all of his previous work together.
Got my eyes to the hills. Pain is my shepherd, my sword and my shield.
Pain is my shepherd, my sword and my shield.
Refuge in patience and pills. A patient that's patiently waiting for help. I don't ever seem to feel well. Can anybody save me from myself? There's blood on the leaves where I fell. Coming down. Burn the border, sons and daughters, law and order. Crave disorder, praise my selfish ways have come too late. I've lost my faith.
Okay. Damn, that's a high note. I'm curious, and don't every time I mention this, people come at me in the comments. I know there's an effect on it, like he's talking through a megaphone on that. A lot of times, and I know Ren doesn't like to kind of edit his voice, and I'm sure he didn't, but when they use that effect, a lot of times it's to mask the autocorrect, or not autocorrect. Yeah, autocorrect, the auto tune or tone correction. I don't think he uses it. I've heard him hit that note before, but that's pretty crazy. That hook was amazing. I want to listen to it again, and then I'm going to talk about the lyrics, and then we're going to get through this full verse, and then I'll talk about the lyrics of the full verse because I am stopping it way too much. Let me go to the beginning. Here we go.
In patience and pills, a patient that's patiently waiting for help. I don't ever seem to feel well. Can anybody save me from myself? There's blood on the leaves where I fell. Coming down. Burn the border, sons and daughters, law and order. Crave disorder, praise my selfish ways have come too late. I've lost my faith.
Okay. Crazy hook and chorus there. I think it's one of his better ones from this hip hop album so far. It's very catchy, but it also goes along with the theme of the song. It's very dark. It's very like morbid. Musically, I'm hearing a lot, right? We have kind of it's very low key, but the like 808 type of bass drum there. We have the hi-hat, the natural hi-hat, but it sounds like in the back, I can't really hear it very well. Maybe we'll break this down, but I kind of hear like a Rhodes piano or like a synth piano kind of in the back on my left ear. So there's a lot going on here. Again, much like Love Music Part 4, the chorus has a lot of production in it, right? Between the modulation on his vocals, all the instruments going on, the dynamics of each part, right? All that is really, really cool. And I think songs that take both the rawness and then bring in the chorus with a lot of production are probably the best songs, honestly, because you're getting the best of both worlds. But let's talk about the lyrics real quick. And then, like I said, the next one, I'm just going to let it play. So obviously talking about burning the border. This is going back to the masochist part, right? Where he just wants to watch everything burn because of how bad he feels. He just is rebelling. He's basically wanting to burn everything, right? Sons and daughters, crave disorder, 100%. Praise my selfish ways. I've come too late. I've lost all faith. Something I noticed here is that the lyrics say, or the lyric video says, I've lost all faith, but it sounds like he says, I've lost my faith. I think that is intentional. Like I was saying before, there's two meanings to faith, right? There's literal faith, like faith in whatever religion you are, but for the sake of clarity, like his faith in God, his faith in his literal faith in his religion. but there's also like faith in trust in the process, right? The metaphorical sense of it. So when he says my faith, I think of like the religious aspect, but when it's all faith, I'm thinking about both parts of that. So the lyrics say all faith, which is what he actually meant, but what he said was only one part of it. I think that's purposeful. I really do. Because for them to mess that up multiple times does not make sense to me. So I believe it's intentional. I could be wrong. I could be reaching like I tend to do sometimes, but I really do think that that's intentional. Okay, let's listen to the next verse and then I'll go through it.
You've awoke a beast, I'm a geezer on the streets. Mona Lisa, this is art, make her Mona Lisa, she needs money. Eeny, meeny, miny, Mohammed, Abi Ali. Pleased to meet you, mate, who's the G?
Not me, an irregular guy. Halitosis with psychosis, omens etched in my mind. Overdosed on pills and potions, a collection of mine. Split a Valium with a Zanny and I mix it with wine.
Hey, pull yourself together, mate. Pull your socks up, stand up straight. Look at you, you're such a mug. God, you're such a fucking stain. Honestly, I wouldn't be seen dead with you in public. Depressed and disorderly, it's like you fucking love it. Mug.
Maybe you're right, maybe it's friend. Do it again and again and again. Maybe I'm high, maybe I'm meant to live in a cycle of anti-survival like man. In a prism like Ben, shot the iris of the land. Make believe and play pretend. God's my witness at the end. With God as my witness, I walk through the valley of the shadow of sickness. I fear no evil, I need no forgiveness. Deliver me.
The cool, like, ethereal, almost like chanting vocal in the background really brings the eeriness to this.
Valley of the shadow of sickness. I fear no evil, I need no forgiveness. Deliver me from temptation, he never listens. I don't ever seem to feel well.
Back at the pre-chorus, so I want to go through this because kind of a lot of what I said comes to fruition here, but also there's another aspect of this that ties into Hi Ren, which is interesting.
You've awoke a beast, I'm a geezer.
Okay. You've awoke a beast, I'm a geezer on the streets. We see the red eyes here. I'm gonna take this as an artistic way, both with the change in his voice, with the change in bravado in his voice, but also with the visuals, right? This is tying back to Hi Ren, where it's these two entities, right? Like Ren, and then the negative energy Ren, right? Some people say it's his alter ego. Some people say it's the devil on his shoulder. There's many different ways to look at that. Some say it's a result of his psychosis. All that is correct. But it's very interesting that this is coming, or I guess this was first, but this is coming back here in this song. And that whole part of him is telling him, you know, I wouldn't want to be caught dead with you in the streets, right? I don't want to be associated with you. You're a mess. You know, you're addicted to drugs and all that stuff. Basically, all of the bad things about him, or that might be in the back of his head about himself, this bad portion of Ren is kind of confirming that, right? It's a very bad space to live in mentally. I'm going to mute this part just because I don't want to. Mona Lisa, this is art. Maker, at least needs my meat, yeah. Eeny, meeny, miny, Mohammed on the beat. That's back from Masochist, right? We just heard that. Pleased to meet you, mate. Who's the G? Not me. So now this is going back to regular Ren, right? Where he's saying, I'm just a regular guy. I have psychosis, omens in my head, right? Overdose on pills and potions. And he splits the Valium with Xanax and wine, right? Literally trying to just numb the pain any way he can. Taking more pills than he should and mixing it with alcohol. Obviously a deadly serum, right? For lack of a better term, but I'm laughing because I've been there, and honestly, we know he kind of got out of this, right? It's sad that that this is where he was at mentally, and I've been there myself. Back to the evil Ren, right? Pull yourself together, right? That's what I was saying, where he's telling him he's losing it. Wear your socks up, stand up straight, look at yourself. God, you're such a... What did that say? God damn it, it's too fast. Such a fucking state. Dead with you in public, right? Depressed and disorderly. It's depressed, right? And now this is him kind of conceding, like, maybe it is me, maybe it's not you, maybe it's just me, maybe I am messed up, but I'll do it again and again. Maybe I'm high, maybe I'm meant to live in a cycle of anti-survival. You know, there comes a point in people struggles. What's that line from The Dark Knight? It's like the night is darkest just before the dawn, right? I think in a lot of cases, people have to hit rock bottom, whether it's with sobriety, whether it's with their mental health, whether it's with their physical health. I think people have to, unfortunately, hit whatever their rock bottom is to be able to kind of see the light and see that it can only get better from here. To get to that point where it's like anti-survival, you're essentially, he had a lot of stuff going on in his life mentally and physically that was ailing him, that was bringing him closer to death, that he not only accepted it, but he kind of wanted to push that onto himself, right? He thought it was inevitable, so why not help it? Why not just accept it and help that along a little bit? And that's a very, very bad mental state to be in. I do think it's interesting, the visuals on this part, because, right, we have like chains being broken, and then almost like so this is actual Ren talking, and he has his hands like it's a puppet because now the dark side is leading him, right? Which is what's happening now. He's succumbed to the dark side at this point, and it's leading him to have these negative thoughts like, I'm just going to succumb. I'm just going to accept that this is my fate, and I'm just going to help it along. Cycle of anti-survival, right? We have these red flames. In the prison, light bends, shut the iris. What was that? Shut the iris of the lens. Again, talking about the light becoming dark. Make believe and play pretend. God's my witness at the end. God's his witness. So now we're talking about actual faith, right? God's my witness is a saying, but now this is when the song turns and it becomes about actual faith. I'm guessing here.
My witness, I walk through the valley of the shadow of sickness. I fear no evil, I need no forgiveness. Deliver me from temptation, he never listens.
Deliver me from temptation, he never listens. Again, I think that's twofold. He never listens being the other side of himself, but he never listens could also be God, could also be whatever entity, religiously you might believe in. He never listens. I know I broke down in How to Be Me when the line came about, oh my God, where were you, right? That whole line, because of what I went through and how I lost my faith because of just, I felt abandoned by my faith. And I went through a lot less. And I know with this Renception thing, we've talked about not diminishing your own struggles, but I went through a lot less than Ren. So it's totally understandable for me if he had lost his faith at some point. And, to be so desperate that you're relying on this entity that, let's face it, guys, I know a lot of you might be religious, okay? And that's what faith is about, is there's no 100% confirmation of any of that existing, right? That's what makes faith so spectacular, is that you're essentially putting all of your faith into this thing that may not actually exist. But to be so desperate that you're relying on this entity that may not even exist, right? It's just, I've been there, and it's tough emotionally to understand how desperate you are in those moments. I'm gonna go back a little bit. Also note the tone of his voice in this entire song. Like, whether it's acting or not, it brings a point across of how he feels. He's desperate. He's at the end of his rope. Almost literally. Like, it's taking its toll on him, and you can hear it in the intonation of his voice. It's wavering, right?
I don't ever seem to feel well. Can anybody save me from myself? There's blood on the leaves where I fell. Coming down. Burn the border, sun's out.
right, does he have lyrics to this? Because I could not understand. First of all, I don't know who that is. Second of all, I want to know lyrics. Doesn't have that portion of it.
Could you read a word? 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 Could you read a word?
I'm gonna. Sorry, guys. I know this is no fun, but I want to know what's happening. I'm gonna blow up my ears for a second.
Could you read a word? Could you read a word?
All right. I'm normally pretty good at picking up lyrics, but I can't tell what the hell is being said. So if you guys can tell me in the comments, that might help bring this together a little bit. I don't know whose voice that is, but it's very digital. We had visions of, as it was kind of, right, it was very almost like condensed, and then it slowly opened, that whole vocal portion. When it started, right, we had the visions of the meds he's taking.
Could you read a word?
Is it "You're My Armor"? What else?
Could you read a word? Could you read a word? Could you read a word?
Whoever is singing is saying, "You're my armor." I don't know what's after that. But if it is saying "You're my armor" and they're showing Bad Ren here, that puts a whole nother perspective on this alter ego of Ren's, right? It's this negative portion of him is his armor. It's his coping mechanism. It's the way he's able to keep going, is he has this alter ego that he falls back to, that is kind of almost like carefree but pessimistic, and he leans on that to get through this. It's amazing because you know, Hi Ren was all kind of about the fight with that dark side, but at the end of it, it's about them working together. And I think that's kind of what's happened here, right? It's this fight of him struggling. The beginning of the song is him struggling. At the end of his rope, right, this alter ego comes in and tells him that he needs to shape up, pull it together. You're embarrassing, right? And he kind of argues with it a little bit, but then it's like, maybe it is me, maybe it is. And then he's completely leaning on this dark side, right? But at the end of all of that is learning to find the good of both himself and the dark side of himself, and using that to create a better person. It's amazing. And we haven't got to that portion of the song, if it's even in it, but it's amazing the kind of visual representation and the journey that this song takes us on with that, along with Hi Ren, right? They're both very similar in that regard. These last two songs have been very intellectually deep and very emotionally deep.
I lift up my eyes to the hill. Pain is my shepherd, my sword and my shield. I find my refuge in patience and pills.
It sounds like that vocal is, "You're my armor, could you lead a war," is what it sounds like. The war to get through this pain that he's feeling, the war to keep going, the war with everything in his being to not succumb to this. This is the end, to create the end, right? The struggle with it in himself. Man. There's so much. I feel like I might have to do like a follow-up video just on the story of the song. I've been wanting to do that for Hi Ren for a long time, but for the sake of time, I don't know if I'm going to break down the music on this one. Wow. The song is a little bit of what I expected, but honestly, it was kind of more than that than I expected. I think with context, I think it's pretty cool, to be fair to Ren, that he released Hi Ren before all of this, even though Hi Ren was the one that was recorded last out of all these songs. I think it's fitting that he released that first, because honestly, I really do think Hi Ren tells his whole struggle in that one song, right? Now we're getting a lot of snippets of that with these other songs. Some of them are just fun, him being fun. Like Down on the Beat was just a fun song. I really do think Murderer, while it's a little bit of leads into Masochist, I do think that was another fun song for Ren. But these last two, Masochist, and this one kind of talked about the like the mental and physical struggle he's had. You know, I'm looking at the lyrics right now that he put on here. I'm a charming fella. I like drinking Cantastella. I see I'm living for the weekend. Bad kebabs and salmonella. That's him trying to tell himself that he's a fun dude. You know, I'm a fun guy to hang out with, but really, he's an introvert. He feels alone. He's hurt all the time. He's in pain all the time. It's really interesting the way that we all know he's a storyteller from the Tale of Jenny and the Screech, right? That's 3 songs that are about 5 or 6 minutes long that really told a great story. But that's a storytelling. Those are storytelling pieces. This is a song, right? Hi Ren was still, I call it a piece of art. It's not a song, it's a piece of art. But that also is a story. That's telling a story. This is a song that has a story in it. This song has, you know, it's the tale of himself and his darker side. Basically his darker side taking him over. It's his darker side telling him that he's, you know, he needs to figure himself out. He's depressed. He's embarrassing, right? All these things, like everything he thinks he is, you are that. And you need to pull yourself out of it. And instead of him, you know, he starts off fighting that, and then he just succumbs to it. He accepts it, and he lets that dark side of himself take over. Not only lets it take over, but he uses that as his shield from the world, from everything that's going on with him. He lets that dark side of himself be his protective layer from all of the bad that's happening. I really think that's a creative, but it's also really sad, man. I think for me, when I get depressed, I'll go back to when I was really depressed in the college time, because that's probably like the worst of it for me. I essentially took all of the bad qualities of myself, right? We all have bad qualities. We all have good qualities. I took all of the bad qualities of myself. I brought them out to the forefront. I took all of my good qualities and I stuffed them deep down, because I figured if I'm going through all of this, the bad qualities must be really who I am. So might as well just embrace it. Might as well just do it. And, you know, that's when I was drinking till I passed out and doing all of these different things, drugs, everything. I did a lot of that stuff that really shouldn't have done, right? But it was just me kind of, you know, call it the devil on my shoulder or my alter ego, whatever. I took all of my bad qualities, and that was what I showed to people at that point in my life. And that was all I did, was be that bad person. And I think this was that point of his life where he decided, well, if I'm being punished for something, just like in Masochist, where he's being punished for something, he kind of unleashed all that negative stuff. This is where, after that point, this is now all that stuff's been unleashed. Now the dark side is taking over, and now that dark side is who he is, and who is leading the way for him. I think it's, again, just like Masochist. It's kind of a deeper, darker thing to think about. I think the vocals of that part there kind of hit home for the tone of the song. We have a lot of the digital sounds, right? And the kind of muffled sounds of that plays a part in the drugs he was on for his illness, right? Because he was taking all those different, you know, basically numbing drugs, right? Everything's muffled. All of his feelings are muffled. Everything is gargled because of these drugs that he's taking. There's so much to unpack with these Ren songs, these last two, because of everything means something. Every little detail in the video, every little detail in the song means something. But like I said, for the sake of time, I'm gonna cut it here. I might do a follow-up with this, kind of diving deep into the music and a little bit more into the lyrics, but this song kind of ties everything together, right? We've had all these cool hip-hop songs. It shows, we've seen his rap chops, just for fun rap chops. We've seen some of the more musically dedicated hip-hop songs, right? with Murderer. We've seen his musical stuff, more musical stuff where he plays guitar. This one brought it all together. It was meaningful. It was deep. It was sad. It was dark. We had rapping. We had singing. We had all of it. Amazing. Amazing. This one's probably going to go in the playlist. My rainy day playlist for the sad days. All right, guys. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Please make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell on my channel. If you guys are here, I'm sure you've done it already, but just in case, make sure you go to Ren's channel, like and subscribe to him, put all them noties on. Support the original artist here. Pre-order that Sick Boy album. I've already done it. I've done it for myself and a few of my friends. So support this guy, man. He deserves so much more than he's already got. Anyways, I love you all. Thank you so much. Please do remember that good vibes are contagious.